Hi guys, this is a demo on how to cut and fold the paper for the final project in beginning printmaking. This is for the book project. So I'm going to turn the video down and you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I've got my paper attached to the table, and my paper, if you remember, is 18 inches wide. And the book you're going to be making is 6 inches tall. So 18 divided by 6 equals 3. So what I'm doing first is marking off my paper at increments of 6 inches so that I can cut it into 6-inch strips. And it has to be very long. It has to be a total of 40 inches long. And actually you should cut it a little longer. You'll see why in the folding process. So I've got a lot of this rolled out, and I'm going to measure and cut in sections so that I end up eventually with 3 very long strips of paper, probably 42 inches long. Okay, so I've actually marked my paper. Very simple, measure here, which is the 0 mark, get it lined up, and then 6 inches, 12 inches, and then at the top it's 18 inches. Very simple. All right, then, and I have my paper, it's hard for you to see, but down at the end I have it taped to my table at the corner, lightly taped to hold it down flat while I cut. Okay. Normally we tear paper, but tearing this, I think with the rulers that you have and probably the work surfaces you have, is going to be very difficult. Okay, and I'm just lining it up. I've put marks at the 12-inch mark all the way along. That's the one I'm cutting now. So I've got a 6-inch strip here. And I'm using an 18-inch ruler. If you're lucky enough to have a 24, that'll make this a little easier. I've got to do this 3 times to make sure that I've got enough paper for the project. And I'm actually going to end up running off my table just a little bit here. But I'm going to live like you guys have to live. Okay. I'm going to come back to the other end. I don't know if you can see down here, but the paper is starting to curl. I'm just going to use a tiny piece of tape to hold that down. I don't want to use too much tape because the paper is fragile and I don't want to tear the paper when I peel the tape off. If your paper tears when you're cutting, there's a simple remedy. Use a new blade. Your blade is too dull and your paper's tearing because of it. And I'm old-fashioned. I really like single-edge razor blades over X-Acto knives, but a new X-Acto knife is just as sharp as a single-edge razor blade. And I'm off the picture here, but I'm going to cut this loose from the roll. And I now have, they're going to roll up 3 strips of paper, a little over 40 inches long, 41, 42 inches long, and 6 inches wide. The pages in the book are each going to be 4 by 6 inches. And the book is accordion folded, so you don't have to cut separate pages. All the pages are automatically connected to one another. I'm putting my paper away. So I'm going to just move these 2 of these strips out of the way, and I'll take one of them and start folding it. Now there's a little cut at the end. This is why having the paper a little bit long is helpful. I've used this paper for many other things, and so this end is a little rough. So I'm just going to use my ruler, and of course I've got a cutting mat, which is a luxury, and I'm just going to cut that end off square. Now, to make a 4-inch page, I'm going to measure 4 inches. Let me move this down so you can see it. I'm going to measure 4 inches, put a little mark, measure 4 inches, again, put another little mark. It helps to fold this over at the mark to make sure that it's square. I'm not so worried about making the 2 marks line up. I know I'm lined up with the top one here, but I'm going to make sure that this top edge aligns exactly. Because if you don't do that each time, eventually your book is going to become misshapen, that the accordion fold won't be straight. Now I have a bone folder, again, a luxury, but I know some of you might have one of these, either for something you did in another class or scrapbooking or some other process. So I've made one fold, okay? Then I'm going to leave that folded. I'm going to turn the whole thing over, and I can see through. So I'm going to put my ruler right where I see the edge of that other piece of paper, and start the fold again. This time I'm going the other way. So I started it, and again I'm going to make sure that it lines up exactly at the top, and my fold should be right at the edge of the paper here. Again, I'll use the bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, something that is convex, maybe this isn't the best example, but the cap of a ballpoint pen or the end of a ballpoint pen can also work as a bone folder. It's just a hard material that presses the fold flat. Flip it over again, fold it again, and you can keep lining it up at the top and make sure the folds are all lined up on the edge, and eventually you will end up with a nice accordion fold. You see how that's beginning to, how that's beginning to occur. Your book will have 10 sides. I have a finished one over here. So this is the finished one, and if you open it up, there are 10 faces. If it'll stay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when I was done folding, I trimmed the last one to make it even with the others. So now this makes a complete 4-inch by 6-inch accordion-fold book. These are the leaves in the book. Leaves are pages. And we're never going to cut this apart. This is always going to stay one piece of paper.